Alright everyone, welcome back. But I did find out. I knew I couldn't leave her alone, and I started to hope I could somehow not lose her. I wished to stay this way. I want to keep seeing her smile. The image of a girl watching the sunset alone on that hill, strewn with the swords. My chest hurts whenever I think of that scene. She never took any time for herself. That always bothered me. Kiritsugu always said not to make a girl cry. I much prefer her smiling face to her tears. That's why I was so angry Saber never smiled. But then, when I told her to smile, she always replied that she would rather see me smile. That's like looking at an immeasurable star through a telescope. I look up at the night sky. I stare up at the star I could never reach. A trickle. I don't know how it formed, but I feel a tear slide down my cheek. I say it to nobody. As dense as I may be, I have to at least admit how I feel. I can't stop this feeling anymore. I realize I've fallen in love with her so much so that thinking about her can bring me to tears. I hear Tosaka's voice as I arrive. She's standing at the entrance.
Tosaka, お前なんで?
玄関で立ち話もなんでしょ? 疲れてるみたいだし、こっち来なさいよ。
She grabs my hand and without waiting for me to reply, drags me down the hall. And she brings me to her room.
はい、お茶。外寒かったでしょ?
She's awkward about it, but she's being considerate.
Thank you.
Honestly, the hot tea is comforting. It took me a good hour to walk home from the neighboring town. I walked slowly, so I was cold to the bone.
で、綺麗なとこに行ってたの?
As usual, she doesn't beat around the bush. I get it. Tosaka must have known that I was gonna do what I was gonna do from the very beginning. But she didn't stop me. She just waited for me to come home. Now she's even made me tea. I feel like a new man. Not that my mind's made up and I appreciate Tosaka's thoughtfulness. Which is probably why I say,
行ってきた。聞きたいことがあったから。
I don't hide anything. I'm honest with her.
そっか。じゃあ何をしてきたかは聞かない。シロもそれでいいでしょ?
そうだな。それにあんまり身のある話じゃなかった。ただ今の状況を確認しただけだったし。
そう。でも驚いたな。セイバーがまだサーバントになりきってないだなんて。最強のサーバントがその実一番半端なサーバントだったなんて悪い冗談じゃない。
そうだな。セイバーはサーバントになんてならなければよかったんだ。
She nods in agreement.
意外ね。シロとアッチャー、もしかしたら気があったのかもしれないな。あいつもね、シロと同じこと言ってたから。
アーチャーってあいつが?
そう、アーチャーも言ってたわ。自分は後悔してるからセイバーにはそうなってほしくないって。
なんであいつがセイバーの心配をするんだよ。あいつセイバーを嫌ってたじゃないか。
そうなんだけどね。やっぱりさ、あいつってセイバーにゆかりの騎士だったんじゃないかな。初めてセイバーと戦った時、あいつ明らかに手を抜いてたでしょ。あの時から怪しいと思ってたんだ。
そうなのか。けどセイバーはアーチャーに見覚えはないようだったぞ。
そうなの？けどセイバーは王様だったんでしょ？ なら国民を全て把握していたわけでもないし、忘れてることだってあるんじゃない？
あのな、そういうこと言い出したらそれこそキリがない。顔を見て思い出せないようなやつならそれは知らないってことだと思うけど。
そうでもないわよ。伝説だとさ、アーサー王の進化には運が悪くてキャメロットを追われた騎士も多いでしょ。あいつその一人だったのかもしれないわ。あいつが正体を隠していたのは私にじゃなくてセイバーに対してだったって言うんなら割と納得がいくんだけど。
Tosaka's unusually chatty tonight. It's probably her way of trying to be considerate. Maybe not particularly effective, but Tosaka's a good person. She's usually pretty relentless, but she still lends a helping hand. She's got a kind of big sister thing going on. We drink tea for a few more minutes. Tosaka turns and looks straight at me. Guess she's run out of patience.
で、あなたはどうしたいの、シロ？
とりあえず明日はデートする。
I can't think of anything else. It's a spur of a moment idea I came up with on my way back home. But then, I don't know where the somber mood from earlier went because Tosaka makes the most bizarre face. She bursts out into uncontrollable laughter.
ちょっと待って、心の準備がすごいってば、すっごいわがままぶりよ、シロ。
Damn, I'm so dumb. I should have seen this coming.
うるさい。わがままで悪いか。そんな場合じゃないって分かってるけど、絶対に邪魔はさせないからな。
違う、シロがおかしくて。
Tosaka slaps my back hard. She holds her stomach with her other hand, laughing so hard now she's nearly in tears. I think this is the worst she's ever treated me.
心底笑ったわ。
そりゃよかったな。こっちは全然笑えなかったけど。
デート頑張んなさい。私あなたたちのこと好きよ。
Tosaka says that kindly, doing a complete about face from a second ago.
おう、頑張る。
Honestly, that came out of left field. When she says it like that, all I can do is nod. I go back to my room. Saber is still asleep and the house is peaceful, as if there's nothing happening. It rained today, but what about tomorrow? I look up at the clouds slowly passing overhead. Unlike me as it is, I pray for a sunny day tomorrow. And the next day arrives. Moonlight. Then, the next thing I know, it's morning.
情けない。結局一睡もできなかった。
I sigh and turn off the ringing alarm clock. Today, no matter what she says, Saber and I are going on a date. My first priority will be to take her to plenty of places so she'll have a chance to enjoy herself. I've been trying to search my mind for the perfect spot for a date, but before I could come up with anything, my alarm went off. I turned the alarm clock on just in case. As hard as I tried, I still couldn't think of anything last night, so I borrowed an alarm clock from Tosaka, figuring I might have to pull an all-nighter. But that's done any good.
考えてみれば、俺デートなんてしたことなかったっけ？
I sigh again. That's sort of a problem. I'm nervous enough, plus I didn't sleep. But I think the worst part is how shocked I am that after staying up all night to think about it, I couldn't come up with a single thing a girl might like.
こうなったら出たとこ勝負だ。手当たり次第連れ回して、あいつに楽しみってやつを思い知らせてやる。
I mean, that's one way. Let's take her to cute shops. Well, I feel like there's a fundamental flaw in that plan, but I've already made up my mind. There's nothing else I can think of. But what this all boils down to is that today is gonna be a day packed with fun, and it'll go on until Saber says she's had enough.
では、イリアスフィールはまだ目を覚ましていないのですか？
ええ、まだ眠ったままよ。あの様子なら目を覚ますのにもうしばらくかかりそうだけど、今日はそれが幸いしたわね。イリア、起きてればシローの後について回って邪魔してただろうし。
そうですね。今までのようにシローに同行されてはたまらない。昨夜はああなってしまいましたが、今日からは本気で残るマスターを探すのです。シローにはイリアスフィールに構っている余裕はありません。
ああ、そっちの邪魔じゃないんだけど、まあいいか。私が言っても仕方ないし、これはシローとセイバーの問題だし。
Tosaka laughs mischievously.
私とシローの問題ですか？
We finished breakfast and it seems like a good time to leave. Saber's ready to look for masters, but I'm determined to execute my plan as well. I just need to be a man and tell her.
そのことだけどな、セイバー。今日は隣町に出るから、支度があるなら今のうちに済ませておいてくれ。
マスター探しですか？それでしたら隣町ではなく郊外の方が確実だと思いますが。
そんなんじゃない。二人で遊びに行くんだから、郊外になんて言っても仕方がないだろう。
は？
Saber freezes. I try to ignore the sound of Tosaka trying and largely failing to control her laughter behind me. I'll get her for that. Later.
シロー、それはどういう意味でしょうか？遊びに行くとはシローとリンではなく、
俺が行くんだから、ついてくるのはセイバー以外いないだろう。トサカはうちでイリアの面倒を見てもらうから関係ない。
何をバカな。私とシローが隣町を探索したところで成果は薄い。そのようなことをしても意味がない。一体何をしようというのですか、あなたは。
Saber's pretty clearly frustrated. I kind of figured something like this would happen. Things are looking even bleaker than I thought since she clearly thinks we're going out of town to search for masters.
まいった。ここまで行ってもわからないんだな、セイバーは。要するに、俺はデートしようって言ってるんだけど、どうかな。
I ignore Tosaka stares as I speak to Saber. I'm not sure how much Saber understands.
そのような言い方ではわかりません。具体的な内容を提示してくれませんか、シロー。
She looks even more irritated. And suddenly, it's like a switch flips in my head. There's no sense beating around the bush here. It'd be best if I were just blunt with her.
シロー、街に出るというのなら従いますが、デートをしようとはどういうことなのか説明してください。いくらこの時代に慣れていると言っても、私にも知らない単語はあります。あまり専門的な略語は使わないでほしい。
Tosaka looks so exhausted.
別に専門的な単語じゃないぞ。知らないなら教えてやるけど、デートってのは女の子と遊びに行くって意味だ。
は？
Saber goes completely still.
女の子とは私のことを言っているのでしょうか？
She's dazed now, muttering. When I nod yes, Saber looks even more confused.
言葉の意味は分かりましたが、意図が全く分かりません。そんなことをする理由は何ですか？
I wasn't expecting this question. I mean, I know what the point of a date is, but now that I'm on the spot and Saber wants me to explain it to her face, well...
ああ、もうそんならしくない単語を使うから勘違いさせるのよ。デートなんて言わずにもっと分かりやすい言葉で説明すればいいのに。いい？セイバー、デートってのはね、要するに相引きのことなの。シローは遊びに行くって言うけど、 集まるところ、男の子が好きな女の子にアピールするチャンスってわけ。
That's, yeah, if you want to go truly straightforward, sure. I cough loud. Tosaka may be right, but I am pretty confident that a date and tryst are two very different things. But I don't think it's worth mentioning. From her reaction, it looks like Saber finally understands what a date is.
そういうことだ、セイバー。今日一日は戦わないで町に行く。そもそも昼間は人目につくから戦えないだろう。ならどう過ごしてもいいはずだ。
That face.
それはそうですが、しかしあまりに意味がありません。そのようなことをしてもシローには何ら得るものがないのではありませんか。
そんなことはないけど、別にそうでも構わないぞ。今日はセイバーのために使うって決めたんだから、俺のことは気にするな。とにかく今日は絶対に町に行く。こればっかりは何を言われても変えないからな、セイバー。
I look her straight in the eye. Saber ponders for a while, looking serious.
では私が反対した場合でもシローは一人で町に出ると。
ああ、絶対に行く。そうでなきゃ一晩考え抜いたのがバカみたいだ。
But you came up with nothing.
それでは私が付き添わないわけにはいきません。サーバントとしてマスターを一人にすることはできないのですから。
But then again, she doesn't know that. After taking a deep breath, Saber answers in her usual manner. Okay, that could have gone better, but at least I managed to convince her to come out. I shouldn't sweat the small stuff at this point.
いってらっしゃい。お土産よろしくね。
As we step outside, I make a rude gesture at Tosaka since she made fun of me until the very end.
それで具体的にはこれからどうするのですか、シロー。
どうするって、とりあえず隣町に出る。交差点からバスが出てるからそれに乗っていこう。
The hilly path is unusually quiet. It's a little past 9 in the morning on a weekday, and the town is starting to come out alive. But it must be a little early to be heading out somewhere. There's no one on the road. It's like we have the road to ourselves.
そういえば学校を休むのに抵抗がなくなってるな。ここのところずっと家にこもってたし。
当然でしょう。シローはマスターなのですから、おいそれと出歩く方がおかしいのです。
Saber's tone is sharp. Saber following behind me is nothing new, but it feels different today. I feel this immense pressure directed at me, and that's putting it mildly. I can tell Saber's gonna be tough to handle. We get on the bus. It would have been stuffed with people about an hour ago. There's only a handful of people using it now. The only people on the bus are old women and children, so it feels like we have the place to ourselves.
セイバー、一番後ろに座ろう。
I call out to Saber, who for some reason tries to sit at the front of the bus and lead us to the wider seat at the back. Saber quietly looks out over the passing scenery. I steal a glance at her and realize how crazy I am for what I'm trying to do today. Taking the bus to a nearby town is an ordinary thing for me. But here, in this ordinary place, something extraordinary is happening. Or, well, I'm finding myself questioning whether I'm actually doing this whole date thing. My mind starts spinning and whirling like some complex cube puzzle. Ah, crap. I'm getting really nervous. It's kind of getting out of control. I take a deep breath to calm myself down so Saber won't notice. But then, and I know this is stupid, I take another look at her. My heart skips a beat. I hardly recognize Saber. She sits next to me. Or, well, it's less that I don't recognize her, that the situation itself is unrecognizable. It makes me realize that she's something else. She's different. I didn't realize it when we're at home. This ordinary, everyday life seems to me like it's becoming something entirely new and different just because Saber is here. Her golden blonde hair, her green eyes, those alone are enough to make her overwhelmingly beautiful. It hadn't really crossed my mind since I never had much to compare her to. I remember the first time I met Saber. I must have been avoiding her because I was too embarrassed to admit that I was admiring Saber. No matter what Saber says to me, she's a girl before she's a swordsman. Or a swordswoman. I didn't know how to react to her, and I didn't understand my feelings for her. I have to admit, I know I sound stupid. I developed trust and affection for Saber past the point of no return. And now I decide to go on a date with her. The order of events is all backward. Now, as I get off the bus, I finally realize what a big deal it is to go on a date with a girl I like. That's okay. I can only give it my all, so I can't very well take it all back and cower in fear now. I calm myself and try to shake off my ridiculous apprehension. The bus crosses the bridge and drives towards the development area and its masses of tall buildings. I breathe out, almost whistling, and ready myself. The familiar bus announcement tells us that we arrived at the Shinto station. It's only 9 in the morning, but the area around the station is already busy. Most of the shops don't open until around 10 o'clock, but the cafes and smaller bookshops are starting to open up. There are already more people here than you expect in Miyama, even if it were a weekend. That look, why is she always doing that? We get off the bus and Saber looks around the area displeased. I don't blame her. She hasn't really agreed to the whole date thing, and everyone is staring at her now. I doubt she loves that.
焦ったな。考えてみれば、朝からセイバーを連れてくれば当然こうなる。
But this discomfort is bound to follow us around all day. The only cure for this I can think of is Saber enjoying herself so much she forgets all the awkwardness.
よし。
I smack my fist into my hand and look over to Saber.
セイバー、初めに聞いておくけど、どこか行ってみたいところはあるか？せっかく来たんだから、今日ぐらいは好きなことをしてもいいだろう。
さあ、別にこれといって興味のある場所はありませんから。そもそも私にそのような選択をする知識はありません。
本当か？そりゃ参ったな。じゃあ本当にここからは出たとこ勝負なわけか。セイバーに行きたいところがなくて、こっちもどこに行っていいかわからないんじゃん。前途多難だ。
I mean, at the very least, she came up with some semblance of a plan. Not too much.
まさかとは思うのですが、何の計画も立てていないのですか、シロ。
Well, his actual plan is to wing it, but that's not much of a plan either.
いや、少しはあるけど、中身はガラガラ。とりあえず、手当たり次第に店をはしごしよ
う。That's kind of hard too. I know some stores I'd enjoy, but I have no idea what girls like. Honestly, if I'd known this would happen to me someday, it'd have been smart to go out with a girl from class at least once.
まったく反論するわけではありませんが、シロはどうかしています。休憩を取ろうという考えはまだいい。ですが、その休憩すら明確な予定を立てていないとは何事ですか。
Crap. Now Saber's in lecturing mode. This is the first time she's ever given me such an earful outside the dojo. She was into this from the start, and I figured all the people staring at her would help, but I didn't realize it'd be this bad.
かねてからあなたの見積もりの甘さには一言したかったのです。あなたは周りのことは目に入ってるくせに、どうも自身に対する扱いが存在です。結果、齟齬を埋めるためにあなた自身が対価を払わなくてはならなくなる。と聞いているのですか、シロ。
聞いてるよ。要するに、今こうしているのが納得いかないんだろ、セイバー。まあ、俺に連れ回されてもつまらないのは目に見えてるし、嫌がるのは当然だろうけど。
いえ、そういうことではなく、 私は今はこのようなことをしている場合ではないと。
So what you're saying is there is a right time.
それも分かってるけど聞かない。俺は今日一日セイバーに付き合ってもらうって決めたんだ。こればっかりは何て言われようと曲げない。絶対だ。
I look straight at Saber. The only thing Saber can do is look back at me in shock.
ただ言いたいことがあるなら聞く。文句もあるだろうし、そういうのは今のうちに言っておいてくれ。その方がお互い気兼ねしなくて済む。セイバーが俺とデートするのが嫌だって言うんなら別の方法だって考える。
あ、いえ、何もそこまでする必要はないと言いますか。私はその
Ah, there's a little bit of a tsundere, huh? It's odd seeing Saber at a loss for words.
なら文句はないんだな。じゃあ行くぞ。セイバーにリクエストがないんだからどこ行ったって怒るなよ。
Maybe we should go to an aquarium. I hear those are popular. That sounds good, so I grabbed Saber's hand.
シロ、文句はありませんが、何も手をつかむ必要はないのではありませんか。
いや時間ももったいないし少し走るからな。案内するからはぐれないようについてこい。
いえ、こんな状態ではその
I started running without waiting for Saber's reply. I've been pretty clear with Saber, so no more being pathetic in front of her. For now, I just need to escort her to every place I can think of. Saber's hand in mine, I run through the crowd. Apparently, Saber's given up resisting as she just follows obediently. It's a little before 10 o'clock. We have 2 hours until lunchtime, so I'm gonna make the most of that and really knock Saber's socks off. Those 2 hours were like a storm. First, we tried a boutique I'd normally never go to. We tried our hand at a bowling while I taught her the rules. Have you forgotten how competitive she is? I couldn't find the aquarium, but we fed birds at the park. We visited an interesting antique shop that ended up being a lot of fun, and I maintained that not going to the movie theater was the right choice. Anyway, I spent the whole time taking her place I figured a girl might like, and it was 2 hours of failure and defeat. However, I tried to spin it. The day wasn't really shaping up to be a date. It felt more like a battle to the death in which the first person to give up loses. Wherever I took Saber, she acted exactly like she always has done. Once in a while, she would fall so quiet I would start to worry if she was truly angry. Her lack of reaction made it clear she was not having fun, which pushed me to try even harder each time. And so, I ran around the city desperate to make Saber smile, but noon came before I actually accomplished anything. And Saber's reminder that it's lunchtime, I decided to take a short break. However, I can't help but blurt out as we sit down.
昼食なら川沿いの喫茶店がおすすめよ。
That was the only advice Tosaka gave me last night. So I did as she suggested and picked this restaurant, but I never imagined it would be so pretentious. Take a look at the menu. Luckily, the menu has Japanese translations next to all its foreign text, so I can at least figure out what all the dishes are. The problem is that I've never even heard of any of these dishes, and the prices are outrageous.
火星かここは。何を頼んでいいのか全くわからないぞ。本気で。
I stare at the menu and growl.
シロ、ここには昼食を取るために立ち寄ったのではないのですか。
Saber looks and sounds a little concerned.
そうなんだが、いかんせん勝手が違うというか。
I look up, and what I see is Saber looking like a cornered rabbit.
セイバー？
落ち着かないのなら、今だけでも屋敷に戻りましょう。シロが用意してくれるものの方が私は好みです。
ね、それは家に帰りたいってことか。
いえ、屋敷に帰りたいわけではなくですね。今日はひどく緊張したので、 普段より疲れてしまったのです。
本当か。そっか。ここで飯にして一息ついたらまた街を出歩こうと思ったんだけど、セイバーが疲れたんならしばらくここで休憩しようか。